Next, from the state fair, we talk with the state chairman of the Illinois Republican Party, Pat Brady, about his expectations for the 2012 elections. We'll also talk with Rodney Davis, Republican candidate for the U.S. House representing Illinois' 13th District. This runs about 15 minutes.
Illinois State Republican Party Chair Pat Brady, thanks for joining us again on the Illinois Channel.
Good to be here.
And we're here at the State Fair on Republican Day. Fortunately, the rains so far have held off, and unlike yesterday with the Democratic Party, no boos for the Republican candidates. What are your thoughts as we head into the official fall campaign season?
I think we're in good shape. As you saw today, we're unified as opposed to the Democrats. You saw what happened to them yesterday. Even those are primarily union people, but I think that reflects more broadly how a lot of people in Illinois feel about what the Democrats have done to the state in the last 12 years. So we're unified. We have great candidates. We have new, young energy, all the resources we need. One of the best get out the vote programs we've ever put together. So I feel pretty good.
What are you looking to achieve in this election, both in the legislature and maybe at the congressional district?
Well, we got to protect our gains from 2010 at the congressional level and pick up as many as we can in the House and the Senate. It's 6 and 6 in either house to take over the House or the Senate, which we're shooting for, but if we don't get it, we think we'll get it in 14. But the primary focus of the state party has been with the national party on the congressional races. We got to protect our gains there, and we're in great shape. We have great candidates.
One of the races that I think is among the interesting ones is the 12th congressional district, where you have Jason Plummer running. That's been in Democratic hands for 7 years. How do you handicap that race?
He's up, I think, double digits right now, and that even though it's been a Democrat, it was Congressman Costello, it's been trending Republican or more conservative for years. Got a good candidate in Jason Plummer, our lieutenant governor candidate in the last gubernatorial race. He's got all kinds of resources. Great organization, a great message. Really, as you know, this state, south of I-80 is very, very deep red, particularly down in that district. So I think we're going to beat expectations.
Now, we referenced the boos that happened yesterday when the Democrats gathered and Governor Quinn tried to speak. Given the angst that is within the Democratic Party, with many of the traditional supporters upset with the party, does that bode well? Are you trying to capitalize on that, and if so, how?
Yeah, we are. And what you saw yesterday with the union people upset with Governor Quinn, they're also upset with Speaker Madigan. And I think a lot of the people in the party are up with the Speaker. He's been there 42 years. It's been his way or the highway. And I think that creates a lot of opportunities for us, because I think a lot of the rank and file Democrats aren't really thrilled with what they've done the last 12 years.
There's no running for the Senate this year on the ticket, no running for governor. The big item is the presidency. I don't think anyone predicts that Illinois wouldn't go for Obama, but to what extent is Mitt Romney and the selection of Paul Ryan as VP, is it energizing the Republican Party faithful, and what kind of feedback are you getting?
Yeah, I think it has, and I've seen it in some of the early polls, that particularly with the selection of Paul Ryan, it pretty much put this campaign on a campaign of issues now. We're going to talk about the real problems the country faces. And I think this is a unique election cycle that people really want to talk about issues. They don't want the negative ads. They don't want the negative campaigning. And I think bringing Paul Ryan into the mix really added a degree of maturity to the campaign that we hadn't seen so far. And it's done nothing but help us, because people, they don't like Obamacare. They don't like tax increases. They don't like too much government intervention in their life. And the opposite of that is what the Republicans represent, and I think that's where the people are right now.
Yes, people might say they're for this or that. How is the fundraising going on both for the party and for the various candidates that you have?
Great. We've never been in better shape at the state party. We've raised all kinds of money. We've gotten all kinds of help from national resources. We're in great shape, and I know our candidates up and down the line are in good shape. Our congressionals, Tom and Chris, have raised a lot of money. So, Madigan's always going to have his money advantage because he's going to get it from the unions, but it's not as big as it used to be, and we're going to match him on the Get Out the Vote Army. So I feel great. Especially the last 3 weeks, it's really starting to fall into place.
Pat Brady, thank you.
See you. All right.
Rodney Davis, Republican candidate for the 13th Congressional District. Thanks for joining us on the Illinois Channel.
Well, thank you, Terry. It's a great time, great opportunity.
You were kind of a surprise candidate this year. You've worked with John Shimkus for years, so you've been around congressional offices. You know how Congress operates, but you are now the Republican nominee after Tim Johnson, the current Republican congressman, decided after the primary not to run again. So tell us, as you are now the official Republican candidate, you're facing the fall campaign, how is your campaign going, and what are the issues that you're focusing on?
It's going well. I've been a candidate for 11 weeks now, and we've traveled to 14 counties that make up the 13th district, been to all of them multiple times, meeting voters from all walks of life, talking about the issues they care about the most. And one thing that I hear constantly is that people in this district, people in America, are sick of Democrats and Republicans not working together to find solutions to some pretty big problems. You know, if Democrats and Republicans can't agree on extending the current tax rates, we're going to see the largest tax increase in American history on all families come December 31st. That's absurd. We can't have small businesses investing in equipment, inventory, let alone people and jobs, if they don't know what their tax bill is going to look like or their health care costs. And those are some major issues, along with attacking our national debt. It's over 15 trillion, almost $16 trillion right now. And Congressional Budget Office estimates that if spending continues at current levels, it'll double in the next 15 years. My daughter will be 30 at that time. My sons will be 26 at that time. And a $30 trillion national debt when they're just starting their families is offensive to me as a father, and it should be offensive to all Americans.
Right now, the federal budget, about 60% of what we spend is entitlement spending, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. Paul Ryan's selection as vice president of the Republican ticket is kind of focusing on that because he's the budget committee chair and on entitlement reform. Republicans are criticizing the president, on the other hand, for not having any plan to deal with entitlements. To what extent, when you talk to the voters, are they focused or concerned about entitlement spending, or are they concerned about possible reforms of entitlements?
You know, a lot of the concerns I hear right now are the $741 billion in cuts to Medicare to our current seniors that Obamacare gives. And what I hear is that we have to repeal and replace Obamacare with a true market-based approach so that our healthcare system can have that safety net for the uninsured, the underinsured, and the underserved. You know, by utilizing things like federally qualified community health centers to get primary care to those who need it, keep them out of the high-cost emergency rooms. When we do that, coupled with selling insurance across state lines, we'll address the healthcare delivery costs in this country and take away that $2.6 trillion boondoggle we call Obamacare. And when that happens, we'll start to be able to look at some ways to shore up Medicare and Social Security to preserve and protect those systems for generations to come.
One of the issues, too, within agricultural communities, and you have a lot of agricultural communities in that district, we need to pass a new farm bill. I think the current bill runs out in about a month or so. One of the hang-ups and concerns, again, going back to entitlement spending, about 80% of the farm bill is food stamps. Where do you stand on extending the farm bill, and to what extent should food stamps be included in that farm bill or rolled out as a separate program?
Well, you know, it's an abysmal failure for Democrats and Republicans to not pass a comprehensive farm bill. And I'm not happy about it. I think it's a failure on both parties that we haven't come together on such an important piece of legislation. There are some stark differences out in Washington between the two sides on this issue regarding the food and nutrition programs, regarding direct payments, and also regarding a strengthened crop insurance program. I don't think that they'll pass a comprehensive farm bill before the end of the year. And what I look forward to doing, Terry, is getting to Washington and sitting around the table, taking the advice I've had from the Illinois Farm Bureau, who endorsed me through their Activator program a few weeks ago, take that advice and really put together a true comprehensive farm bill that's going to help our nation's farmers continue to feed the world, because they're underappreciated from doing that. And part of that is going to be addressing the need for those who utilize the food and nutrition program as a safety net to ensure that it doesn't create generation after generation of those getting those benefits without working. You know, we have to ensure that those who can work are able to move toward that job. And the best thing we can do to make sure that happens is create jobs in the private sector. And government doesn't do that. And we have to have tax certainty to make that happen, and healthcare cost certainty to make that happen, and allow those small businesses to grow their equipment, inventory, and their jobs.
How is the campaign going? As we said, you were working on Congressman John Shimkus' campaign or his office, I should say, for many years. So you're not new to the ebb and flow of a congressional office. How different is it to actually be the candidate and be out there talking to people?
Well, it was a lot easier in Monday morning quarterback, you know, the responses he would give to questions that you would ask. It's a lot harder to stand in front of the microphone and come up with responses that truly reflect the need for seriousness right now in Washington. And there is a true need for serious solutions. and somebody who's going to go out to Washington like me, who's going to have a very small learning curve because of my experience in working with these issues. And I want to take that experience and become a leader immediately upon getting there in January. Not just I want to actually help get votes so that we can make some real substantive changes to the way Washington operates, which is what the people of Central and Southern Illinois are demanding right now.
If you were lucky enough to be elected come November, are there any committee assignments within Congress that you would especially like to have?
Well, I won't turn down any assignment they give me because it'll be a blessing to be elected and to serve this great district. But this district is, home to some of the agribusiness giants like ADM, Tate & Lyle, GSI. Transportation issues are huge, and I have 9 universities and colleges in this district. So ag, transportation, infrastructure, education, and workforce should be our top 3 requests.
The rain's finally coming. We'll let you go.
Thanks, Jerry.
You're watching the Illinois Channel, an independent nonprofit corporation formed to provide gavel-to-gavel coverage of Illinois state government and other public affairs events taking place across Illinois.